Hello, it's Karen Berniston here with my monthly designer challenge video. The theme this month is animals and characters. I went with feathered animals. We have this fun what's the word bird, miss you, let's catch up card. So the technique here is going to be to create a circular shaped card and then put the photo fan pop-up inside, and I'll be decorating that using our memory charms. I'll use our circles crosshatch die first, and that's going to be used to make the card. So the largest circle in that set is just under 4 1/4, so just under an A2 size. And what I need is just a piece of medium weight cardstock that is big enough to hold that die. And then I've got that card folded in half. And then the important thing is just to make sure that an edge of that circle is over the fold of the card, meaning that I leave a little bit connected. So you can see right here, I've slid that die up over the fold of that card so that a little bit remains connected. And then I'm just going to run that through my die cutting machine. So you can use any die cutting machine that can accommodate a wafer thin die. I'm using my Spellbinders Platinum 6. So now what I have is a circular shaped card, and because I did use just medium weight cardstock, that crosshatch pattern went all the way through. So I've got the crosshatch pattern on all sides of the card. Then I'm going to step down to the next size circle, and I'm going to decorate that card. I just went through my stash and I found this piece of 49 and market paper that was left over from a class that I taught, but I really liked this side with the black and white flowers. So I'm going to see if I can get 4 circles out of it. And I was successful with getting 4 of those circles out of that scrap of pattern paper, and now I'm gluing all of them to the card. So all 4 sides will get that pattern paper. Now in that same stack of scraps from that class was another piece of 49 and market paper. This was what we'd used on our barn card, but I liked the black side of it for the photo fan for this card. So one thing about that paper is it's a thicker double-sided paper. I mean, it's really almost a lightweight cardstock weight, and lightweight cardstocks work great for the photo fan pop-up, so I can certainly do it out of this pattern paper. Okay, folding the photo fan pop-up is actually really simple. You can see that the die has made all of those score lines for you. So what I like to start with is just the 2 tabs at the bottom. So those have kind of a diagonal fold that brings them to the back. So I'm going to fold both of those tabs to the back. Okay, you can see there they are on the back. Those are the ones that will actually hold the photo fan down inside the card, as will these 2 outside tabs. So I can fold those to the back as well. Now sometimes it's just easier to fold towards yourself and then reverse it. All right, now all of the other folds are going to be back and forth, kind of accordion style folds. So bringing my tabs back out again, I like to do the middle one first. That is a mountain fold. Then the next one out is a valley, and that's true on both sides. Then the last one is a mountain fold. So mountain fold means you're folding away from yourself. Valley fold means you're folding towards yourself. So I'm basically just making this into a fan kind of shape. And that is all there is to training the folds of the photo fan. So a real simple pop-up. And what is going to hold that to the card are going to be the base tabs. So those center base tabs that fold on those diagonal folds, those go to the back and hold around the center fold, and then out further away are those 2 other tabs. So I always start with the 2 in the center. And what I want to do is I want to align the center fold of the photo fan with the center fold of the card. And then that can go anywhere along the fold, but I'm just, as you see, just coming up a little bit. You know, I don't have a ton of room in there, so I'm just kind of trying to center it in that little fold area of the circular shaped card. So if I reverse the fold up the middle temporarily, then that will allow me to lift up the card and make sure that I have a good alignment when I glue these down. So I like a strong adhesive for this. I'm using my LINECO neutral pH adhesive in my fine tip bottle. We sell both of those items on our website. All right, and now those 2 base tabs are going to glue on either side of the fold. So I'm going to lift my card up so that I can really align that center fold with the card. And it's just those base tabs underneath there that are getting glued down, 1 on either side of the fold. And I just need to be a little bit patient with this, which is not my strong suit, but that 49 and market paper has a little kind of slickness to it, so it takes just a little extra second on that glue to set up. All right, now I'm going to do the outside tabs. So I'm going to add adhesive to those tabs. I want to keep my card nice and flat. This should be done in the flat position. And then I'm going to kick each one of those tabs under and attach it to the card. So again, just keep the whole thing entirely flat while doing this. And once again, just going to give that some good pressure. Okay, once I feel like all of my tabs are set up, then now I want to train this to close. So right now it's laying on its back, it's happy in that flat position. First thing I need to do is get the mountain fold back up the middle, the one that I had temporarily folded. Now, right here, I need it to go mountain, valley, mountain, mountain, valley, mountain. And these outer little arms are going to flip over as the card closes. So even if I put my fingers behind that outer section and pull that forward, what I'm trying to do as I close the card is get the entire fan to pull forward into the card and then collapse on top of itself like this. Okay, so you may have to give it a little help that first time. It's been laying down flat on its back and it's pretty comfortable there, so you just need to kind of help it by pulling it forward as you close the card. All right, so those little base tabs, just a little bit went in, over the edge here, so I'm just going to take my scissors and snip that little bit off. So not too much alteration to make that photo fan fit inside a pretty small circular shaped card. So I'll have to be careful with the embellishments because I've got to keep them in that small card. But that is a really fun look, that photo fan in the circle card. Now that is completely generic. You could use that for any theme. For my theme, which is animals, I'm going to use the feathered animals, spring animals, and tiny accessories 2 to make my birds. And then for greetings, I'm using word set 14 hugs, and then our fishing phrases clear stamps. I love the scrap bin for putting together all of our little animal dies. And then sometimes I like to make pieces into stickers just for easier assembly. So on the orange cardstock, I'm going to add some double-sided adhesive tape to the back of the cardstock so that everything I die cut out of that orange will be a sticker. And then because I am using that orange for beaks, I thought it would be cool to have them be a little shiny. So on the top of the orange cardstock, I'm going to add a piece of just clear packaging tape. And then that's going to turn those beaks from kind of that flat orange into a shiny orange. And then it's just a matter of loading up my die cutting machine with all of the pieces and parts that I need for the birds out of the various colors and scraps. So there are full assembly videos for the feathered animals and the spring animals, so I'm not going to go over the full assembly in this video, but I will certainly link that in the description box below if you need to find those assembly videos for those animals. Our animal sets make great use of stencil features in the die to where you can add details, faces, things like that to the animal without having to glue on tiny parts. You can use those stencil features. Stenciling the eyes of the ostrich using the stencil feature of the die. And then there is a separate die for the beak that I cut out of that shiny orange cardstock that's also a sticker, and I can actually sink the beak down through the die before removing the die, and that will place it in the exact correct position. So just things like that, just things that are user-friendly about our little animal dies. Definitely watch those assembly videos to learn the full assembly. Now, instead of using the squares that come included in the photo fan pop-up, I'm going to use the oval frame out of our Memory Charms die set. So I've die cut that out of kind of a silver cardstock. And then what I'm going to do is just attach a bird inside each one of those frames. And I didn't put legs on the birds because I knew that they were just going to be, coming through the frame kind of from the torso up. And I also embellished a little bit with some of those tiny accessories too. So that's where the glasses and the pearls and the little pillbox hat came from. There are some round glasses for the owl that do come included in the feathered animals, but the other glasses came from that tiny accessories too. So after I've got my bird attached behind the frame, then I can add the oval that also comes in the Memory Charm set, and this time I just cut it out of a teal cardstock. On the frames, the silver frames, there is a little charm hole at the top since that is a charm set, but I snipped those off because I was going to be using these as standalone frames. And then I just made 3 more birds so that I could fill up all 6 of my frames with some fun birds. And while I was in the business of bird making, I made 3 additional ones to save for the front of the card. Okay, adding the frames to the spokes of the photo fan is pretty easy. I just need the adhesive on the spoke itself. I'm going to start here with this outside one. Now I'm going to bring that oval frame in pretty far onto that spoke because of the small size of my card. And now this outside one has got to flip over into the closed position. So I'm going to pinch that on and then just check it. And you can see the wing of the ostrich, which sticks below the frame, was catching the card and then knocking it off of there. So what I needed to do was bring it up. So right there, see, it's still kind of I don't know, scraping a little bit. So I'm going to bring it up so that it has more clearance to just flip right over. Okay, so just like that. So you have to be a little bit, flexible when you add things to the photo fan because you may have to move it, to get better operation. All right, so then I'm just going to repeat what I did on the other side. So in each side, once I get a good location for it on one side, then I'm going to kind of match that on the other side. So this owl out here, again, just quickly check it, make sure that it's flipping over nicely, that it's staying in the card when the card is closed. I'm going to skip the next spokes for now and go to the ones in the center so that I can just get good spacing on everything. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing, which is to add the adhesive to the spoke. I'm going to try to match how far up the spoke I am. And this one, I think I'm just going to center it on the spoke and then just check it real fast. And that seems to be a good location for that to stay within the card. Now I'm going to put this cute little owl on the other side. Again, just kind of matching the location and just checking it, making sure everything stays in the card. So now with my final two, I can just split the difference as far as location. So put the adhesive on the spoke and then just place that frame so that it's visually right between the ostrich and the owl when the card is open, and do the same thing on the other side. Now I love glue for the photo fan because I do have the opportunity to move things, either because they stick out of the card or just because I change my mind. If I work quickly, I can move things. So I kind of thought these chicks should be reversed so that the two birds that are wearing pearls would not be right next to each other. So a little bit of adhesive there on that final spoke, getting my sweet little ladybird on there, and then checking that everything stays in the card. I mean, how cute is that? And really, you could put anything in those frames. So you could take this exact same design and maybe put photographs in those frames. How cute of a graduation card would that be? So my concept for this card would be sending it to a friend saying, hey, I miss you, let's catch up. So from the fishing phrases clear stamps is that phrase, let's catch up. And I'm going to stamp that on some white cardstock. And then I'm going to trim that into a 1/2-inch strip and mount this onto a teal strip that's just a little bit wider so that I get that little teal border on both sides. Okay, so now I'm going to take that greeting and lay it across my card where I want it to be on the left side of the card. So here's where I would like that to land. And then what I'm going to do is take the same circle die that I used for the pattern paper and just lay it down over the card so that I can get the location that I need to die cut on that Let's Catch Up. What's nice about that photo fan is I can flatten it. So you can see I can flatten it all the way down to be able to tape that die into place exactly where it needs to be. I'll trim off the half that I don't need, and now I'll just send that through my machine. I carefully removed the tape, and now I have that greeting. It has the edges that are circular that will match up perfectly with the pattern paper. I just need to glue that in place where it matches the circle. All right, so by having that glued in place, it's going to make it easy to do the other side to match. So I just have to lay that strip on the card and then repeat the exact same thing with the circle die. And my thought was on that strip on the right that it could either just be decorative, like just leave it alone, or it could be the place where you sign the card. Because your other option would be to add a white circle to the back of the card where you could write your personal greeting. The other greeting that I thought would be fun for this bird-themed card would be to say, what's the word, bird? Like, hey, tell me what's up with your life. Let's catch up. So I did that on the computer. I just went to the computer and, created a printout that would fit within that Memory Charms oval frame so that it would kind of match the theme. And again, because that is going to be used just as a standalone frame, I can trim the little hole off the top and then just get my greeting put inside that frame. So I want to center the greeting on the photo fan, but I have to choose which side of the fold am I going to put the adhesive, because that's going to change which way that greeting tilts. So do I want it kind of tilted to the right, or do I want it tilted to the left? I decided I would like it kind of tilted to the right. So I'm going to add my adhesive just to the right side of the fold. I can still flatten that completely. So I can flatten it to make sure that my greeting is centered, but it is only attached to the right side of the fold. And that way it'll kind of flip over into the flat position, and I don't have to put a fold up the middle of my greeting. For the front of the card, I'm going to use the greeting Miss You from our word set 14 Hugs. So I'm brushing a little bit of black ink just on the lower half of each word. And then that glues to the included shadow die that comes in the set. There is also a little heart in that set that will fit over the heart in the greeting just perfectly. I had enough leftover black pattern paper to cut a ring using those same circle dies, and then I'm going to take my little front chick and have her kind of hanging off the ring. And then I think she's going to hold a little heart, so that heart came out of that tiny accessories too. Quick check, and I see that her legs are hanging off the edge of the card, so I'm going to go in there behind and just carefully peel up the legs and move them up a bit. And then when I glue that ring down, I'm not going to use any adhesive behind the head of the chick, anything inside the ring, and that way I'll be able to slide my Miss You greeting behind the chick. I attached my owl and my ostrich behind the Miss You so that their wings are kind of on the front holding the greeting, and then I'm just going to find a spot on the front of the card where all the birds stay in, and it's tucked a little bit behind the head of the chick. And then a little bit of glue behind the head of the chick, and my card is done. The diameter of that circle is just a little bit under 4 1/4, so that means that this card will mail easily in an A2 size envelope. So here's an A2. You can see how well it fits inside. Now, one thing about it is here in the States, if it's rigid or it's over 1/4 of an inch, then you have to put a little extra postage on it. For this one, I would suggest either the butterfly non-machinable stamp, or you could use a regular stamp and then your extra ounce stamp. So just a fun technique this month of making a circular shaped card, then adding the photo fan pop-up inside decorated with the oval frame from our memory charms. Now what you fill those frames with, completely up to you. If you're interested in the dies that I used, you will find links in the description box below, as well as a link to the blog post. And on the blog post, you're going to find photographs of my card, as well as links to all of the wonderful animal inspiration by our very talented design team. Thanks for watching. If you click on the website link, you'll go to KarenBerniston.com, where you can purchase these dies as well as find links to our other social media accounts. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel and check out some of my other videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.